Welcome back to the channel, guys. So, if you watched my last video, you know that we are taking on the maze. We are doing fine, but it's worth noting that I brought up in my last video that due to there being so many crybabies on the game during the cat UFO maze saying that it wasn't even free-to-play possible, when in fact it was, I knew that it was a good possibility that Social Point might nerf the maze, making it easier because, I mean, it's a business and it is, sort of on their, I guess you would say, duty plate to make sure that everybody is happy, or at least a majority are happy. And if 99% of your game thinks it's not even possible, it's probably, more convenient to just help them out than argue them. So I had a feeling they would nerf it. I didn't think they were going to nerf it as bad as they did, meaning they added 200 coins, making it extremely easy to do now, free to play. How they added the coins was they put them on the spins, which I had talked about in my last video that they would most likely make the attack spins, the ones where the swords are, like here on the right. They would make those 50 and then leave the other ones as they were, which was 25. But that's not what they did. What they did was they made every single spin 50. So since there were 8 spins, that added 200 coins to the maze, making it a total of 3,475 collectible maze coins. And I think after talking to a lot of people, I come to realize that the number one reason where everybody was confused, I think, is in how many times you can collect. Meaning most people think there's only 12 collections. They think, oh, well, you can collect 6 times in 24 hours and there's only 48 hours in the maze, so that's only 12 collections. That's not true, because you can collect as soon as the maze starts. So there's 13 collections, because you can collect as soon as it starts, and then you can collect 12 times before the 48 hours is up. So that's one huge thing of misinformation, I think. There is the fact on whether you get 13 collections or 12 collections. Now, what I've come to learn from this maze is I might not have actually got this monster if it wasn't for the nerf. I might have still came up short. I don't know yet. How I will be able to determine that, since I haven't been keeping track of my actual coins since they made it so much easier, is when I get to this 25 cell node over here, which that's 100. I only need to move 3 more times to complete my goal. As long as I can have 200 extra coins before it's over, or in my case 184, I mean, still technically I guess you would argue I need 200 because I accidentally misclicked and moved bomb. So had there not been a nerf, I still would accidentally misclicked and moved bomb. So I still would need 200 coins when the maze is over to have gotten the monster as it was last way, before the nerf. Now, if I came up short, that doesn't mean that it wasn't free-to-play possible. That just means that I, Lost Jumper, failed. Meaning, like, I'm not perfect. I have slept. I was arguing somebody. I missed one maze collect by like 15 minutes. I slept through. I hit the alarm. I got up, and I forgot why I got up, and then I did the maze and went back to bed. So like I've missed. I haven't been perfect collecting. I've got one perfect collection since the maze started. Now, not all of that is my fault. I don't know what's going on, meaning, like, I'd wait 4 hours. Then I would go and I'd do my eggs, and I'd get my 100 coins, but then I'd go and do a PvP and only get 14 coins. Or I'd go and feed my monsters and only get 29 coins. Or I'd go and collect all my farms and only get 29 coins. Or I'd collect all my food and then collect them again, and I'd only get 49 coins. And I was like, why am I not getting max coins? I've waited 4 hours. So I really don't have an answer for that. And then I come into these hiccups, whereas, yeah, theoretically, you're supposed to collect every 4 hours. But what happens when your discount's about to end and your 4 hours isn't up yet? Meaning, like, hey, the 20% discount's going to end in 5 minutes, and you still got 10 minutes until it's been 4 hours. Well, you have to cut your losses. You have to collect early, meaning you have to go ahead and hatch your egg, breed another one. You have to do all of your collections then, 4 minutes early, and just miss out on the handful of coins, meaning maybe then you go and you do your PvP and you only get 13 coins. Oh, well, you have to count those 2 as a loss. You can't wait for the discount to be over just so that you can collect those couple of extra coins that you wouldn't have got. You just reset your 4-hour clock is all you do. Basically, you say, oh, yeah, like, I lost 5 minutes. Okay, now you start over from where you lost 5 minutes, meaning, yeah, I lost 5 minutes, but now I'm back on minute 0, and I have 4 hours to wait to the next one. And that's going to happen to you twice in the maze. Meaning, or technically it's going to happen to you 3 times in the maze. It's going to happen to you when the 20% discount is coming to an end. You're going to have to cut your losses and collect early. breed commons, whatever you got to do, collect 30-second farms, whatever you got to do, but you got to do it early, get it done before the 20% ends. Then you will have to do it again when this 10% ends. Like me, myself, I need to collect when it's 4 hours. I have an hour and 33 minutes left to collect, but roughly around that time, meaning when then another 4 hours is up, I'm just going to have to collect when there's a minute left on the maze before the 10% discount ends. Meaning when there's a minute left on the 10% discount, I have to collect no matter how long it is, no matter whether I'm going to get 15 coins or 12 coins or whatever it is, I have to collect. And that's the second time in the whole maze where you have to do that. And then the third time is at the actual end of the maze when there's only a minute left in the maze. So that makes 3 times in the maze where you have to cut your losses short and collect. But that's why it's great that they left room in there. Like if you remember the chart that I showed you at the end of the last video, you only need 3,800 or 3,086 coins if you do 20 nodes with a 20%, 7 nodes with a 10%, and 2 without any discount. So I'm still running perfect along on that because I only need to get to node 27 by the end of this discount, and that's the next node. Meaning I only need to move one more time before this discount's over, and in an hour and 32 minutes I'm going to be able to move that one more time. And I'm actually going to have extra because I should have 299 coins after doing my next collect, and I only need 266, which means I should have 33 coins left after making that move, and theoretically I should have had an extra 16 because I accidentally moved bomb. And then I only have to do the 2 last moves, which is 600 and some coins. So, and I have 4 collects to do that. So yeah, and one of them will have a discount. So it's definitely possible that I'm getting it. My goal now is just to get it with 200 extras so that I can prove my point to you, my audience watching, that, hey, I was going to get this monster either way. But I learned a lot from it, meaning before this video, let's say last video, when I was telling you guys, like, you know, it's possible. I was also only counting, you know, hardcore statistics if I was like a robot. And what that robot wasn't counting is the fact that 3 times during the maze you have to collect early. Meaning you have to collect early before the 20% ends, you have to collect early before the 10% ends, and you have to collect early before the whole maze ends. Meaning you're going to lose a few coins on each one of those 3 collects. So if you're, let's say you lose 6 coins. Times 3, that's 18 coins that you're not going to get by the end of the maze that I had counted in that I would be able to get. So it's definitely worth note that I've learned through this experience of actually like playing it close. Now people would say, yeah, but you didn't get any sleep because you're having to wake up. Let me tell you something. I slept for 12 hours. But did I sleep for 12 hours straight? Absolutely not. I had an alarm clock go off, I wake up, I do the maze, and then I just set the alarm again and then go back to sleep. And that's what's happened, but I still get my plenty of sleep time. I just have that, like, having to wake up. And since it's 4 hours and not 2 hours, it's not like I'm having a battle REM sleep or something, you know? Like, it's fine to wake up at 4 hours. There's nothing wrong with it. Could even drink a soda and still go back to bed. So, to me, I think there's a lot to be learned from these mazes. I, myself, personally, Lost Jumper, do not support the nerfing. I really liked it with the challenge and knowing that, like, hey, there's still better monsters to come. Because you got to remember, Cat UFO, this Armel, they're not the best ones, guys. Like, Blaz is the best mythic. Odana is another good mythic. These ones were just gold collectors to me. Whereas if I could get a Blaz, that's somebody I would want to drop my 6k Amber on. Well, almost 6k Amber. I don't think I actually have 6k Amber. I don't want to give you guys the misrepresentation. I'm like 159 short. But anyway, had I got, you know, a Blaz from the maze, I would dump all of my Amber on him. If I got an Odana, I would not dump all of my Amber on an Odana. I'm not big on wars. I don't care. There's not really anything that I see me doing with Odana that I wouldn't have done with Tanya or Taini, and I don't see me ranking my Taini right now because I have a Tabora. I'm not interested in an Odana. Give me a Blaz, and I'm interested in a lot of things. There's a lot of things I can do with that support monster. You know, he's got skill mirror, he's got double purr in one move. He's got nerves for days. Like, that's definitely a monster I can use. So yeah, like that's where I feel in the maze is I wish they would have left it the way it was and made it a hard challenge. Even if I didn't succeed this time, like say I didn't get the Armel because I misclicked, I moved my bomb, and I didn't count in having to collect early 3 times in the maze, and I failed. Alright, well that would suck, but that would have made me a stronger player for the next one, meaning when Odana shows up, I'd had that play experience under my belt. I'd have had that trying to achieve something and failing and then learning from my failure and being able to apply that to the next one. Whereas when Social Point just wipes our ass, that's not good for us. Meaning, like, Social Point just made this maze so easy that, like, now I'm basically just like, yeah, I misclicked bomb. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna get the monster. Oh yeah, I gotta collect early 2 times. Oh yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna get the monster. How's that making me a better player? It's not. It's not at all. That's actually encouraging you to be a worse player. That's what making you a dependent player. That's something they've done to their spenders for as long as I've been playing. I don't appreciate it being done to free to play. It should have been hard. If you didn't get the monsters, you should have bought it then. Okay, like you shouldn't get it both ways. You shouldn't be able to one bitch that you're not gonna buy the monster and then bitch that it was too hard to get without buying the monster. Like no, buddy, you should have to pick one or the other. Either play hard, go hard, get the monster, or buy the monster or cry. Like that's the only options there should have been on the table. Social Point nerfing it for all these free to play crybabies disgusts me. I'm ashamed of you guys who said it wasn't possible. I'm ashamed of you guys who needed this nerf, meaning any of you that finished this maze and don't have 200 left, even if it's myself. I'm ashamed of us or you. Why? Because we needed to get better. That's what it would have took. Like Cat UFO maze made me better for this maze. This maze would have made me better for the next one, and so on. It doesn't make me better when you hand me the monster. When you take away the challenge, that doesn't make me better. And people will say, well, how do you know it was possible or whatever? And like, I've already done the math. Like, you guys can go through and double check the math in my previous video. But in common sense theory, it's like this. Just because I don't get the monster doesn't mean it wasn't possible. Like, I can't bench press 300 pounds, but that doesn't mean that I don't think it's possible that I could bench 300 pounds. Like, yeah, it just requires that I would actually have to get off my ass and do some training. I wouldn't be able to just press my thumbs all day on a telephone. Like, that's the reality that I live in, is that, yes, I knew it was possible. I just knew I was going to have to bust ass to get it, and if I failed to do so doesn't mean it wasn't possible. It just means that I failed. Meaning, like, if I didn't get this monster without the nerf, that didn't mean it wasn't possible without the nerf. It just means that I failed. Like, it was possible. There were 13 collects, 200 on the spins, and 150 to start out the maze with. That is more than enough. That was 3,275 coins. Minus 3 early collects. Who cares? That would be like 3,250 then. Say you missed 25 coins because of the 3 early collects. All right, well, you only needed 3,086. So I still should, like, it's still possible. So yeah, like that's where I'm at with the maze, guys. I figured I'd give you the follow-up so that you could see that, yeah, I'm definitely doing it. After we get to the 25, we will screenshot our maze coins or whatever, and then we're going to go move bomb. We don't get the discount on him, but it's not going to matter. We can still get, like, each one of those is just 10 Stardust to me. So, like, people that would ask, you know, which one should you go for? You definitely should have went for Armor, in my opinion. And my reason for that is there isn't a Gauntlet for Mythics, meaning, hey, that could be cool if they did bring that out, meaning a second Gauntlet that you could do just for the Mythics. I think that would be pretty neat. But since there isn't one, all these bomb cells are a Stardust, because it perfectly said that you had to own the monster already to be able to do the bomb path, and that's why they're Stardust. Meaning, if you were allowed to do this even though you didn't have bomb, which I highly think should have been something that was considered. I personally myself don't think there is a better monster for everyone to have than bomb at the moment. Meaning, if you're a player who does not have a bomb beta for whatever reason, maybe you couldn't breed one, you weren't in a team that bought you one, my heart goes out to you, because you're in the worst shape. Meaning, like, right now the Gauntlet is the biggest reward in the game. There are players making 500 Stardust a day because of the Gauntlet in daily dungeons, and the fact that that is possible is a huge thing, and it's not possible at all if you don't have a tank, in my opinion. Like, I don't like to say what's not possible. I mean, there's probably some crazy player out there that can, you know, mastermind a way to beat the Gauntlet without using a tank, but because there's triple Uriel Essence teams and stuff, and now we have so many monsters that can wear Uriel Essence that there's, like, I don't know what, 7? You could build different teams that can all wear Uriel's Essence, and then when they die, move them around to the next one. I don't know. But for the basic free-to-play scrub like myself, trying to bust out as much dust as they can in the Gauntlet, Bomb Beta is the #1 needed thing. Kodama is good and all. Kodama is the best denier in the Gauntlet, but there are welfare replacements to Kodama. There's not really welfare replacements to Bomb Beta. Like, he is the bottom line tank in the Gauntlet. Again, that's also my opinion, and I'm sure it's an opinion shared by others. So that's where we're at with the Gauntlet, or not the Gauntlet, that's where we're at with the maze. With the Gauntlet, I did stream it earlier, and I misplayed bad in today's Gauntlet. All of the success or failure of today is my own fault. Nothing, couldn't ask for a better day in the Gauntlet, and I ruined it. I didn't check the speeds on a Quack, and he killed my Bomb Beta. Everybody on the node was faster than my team, and I was so worried about how fast Froma was that I never once looked over and seen how fast Quack was. So the little alligator ripped my Bombetta a new one. And then the following node had a Megaton on it with a 19,500 speed Moochie, and I didn't have any way to purr that away and be faster than Moochie. So that ended my day in the Gauntlet. I do need to rank my monsters. I do need to upgrade the runes on my monsters, and then we can consider going deeper, I think. This race, the changes that I will be making is, a lot of players that have watched previously in my videos, I've expressed time and time again that level 10 speed runes aren't worth it, that there are too many resources for 1% speed. Meaning if you have a monster and you're free to play and you want it to be fast, just put 9 speeds on it. Save your 10s for making strength runes, life runes, and mutant strength and life runes. Well, that was all fine and dandy until the game brought out the Cosmic Book Rewards. Once the Cosmic Book Rewards come out where everybody gets all these 9 chests, that's not really a good idea anymore. Now there's so many 9s being given out that you can just put them in the crafter and turn half of them to 10s and half of them to 8s. And yeah, because if you get a 9 back, just put it back in there again until you get either a 10 or an 8. And do that to all your rewards, and then you got more 10s than you know what to do with. Because 10s you can change them around for free, whereas 9s, trying to get the exact 9 you need is pretty complicated. Whereas before, when you're having to craft them up from the ground, a 9 becomes so much work that you don't want to put it in and turn it into a 10 when you could just use it as a 9. So anyway, I will possibly be considering taking off the 3 9s that are on my Tabora and putting 3 10s there just for a 3% speed increase in the Gauntlet. I think that, along with the Rune Temple, is worth considering. The Rune Temple does cost me a lot of gold, and I am definitely bottlenecked on food, which brings me to the next point of what could be going on this channel, guys. They mentioned, I've seen a leak, that there is going to be an El Colossal for 24 hours, and it's going to be a special one. I have no idea what that means. I don't know if that means there's going to be no elemental restrictions. I don't know if that means it's going to be for Forsakens, or if it's going to be for Mythics, or if it's going to be for, like, War Masters and Elites and whatever. I don't know. I have no idea what it means. But here's what it told me. It told me what's the best thing I could hope for. All right, so I thought, man, I really need some Hyperias. Like, that's what I was saving my gems for in the first place, was when Earth Colossal came back, I was going to buy Hyperias. Meaning, even if I didn't have the combos to breed Hyperia, I was just going to go to the shop and buy them for 300 gems each. And then I was going to breed Hyperias that way. Meaning, I just pay the extra 300 gems for the monster, and then I'd pay 50 gems to rush it so that I could breed it, and then I would breed these Hyperias and I'd rush them for 50 gems each and just start a farm. Alright, well, maybe that's still possible in this special one, so if I'm going to drop 5k gems or even more gems on breeding Hyperias for gold farming purposes, I thought to myself, whoa, what would happen if that happened? I wouldn't even have been ready, guys. If tomorrow they were like, yo, bro, you can breed Hyperias, I would run out of space. I'm not prepared. I have all these panda habitats taking up, like, I'm only allowed to have 95 halves. I want to breed 100 Hyperias. How could I do that? I only have so much room in my vault. Meaning, like, if I deleted the monsters in my vault and used all 185 of my keys, I could only put 50 in here. Meaning I'd have 50 monsters in my vault, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to breed 50 more Hyperias. Where am I going to put them? Am I just going to start selling monsters? Like, yeah, okay, so I sell off all the pandas, but yet I don't have any legend halves in my storage, so, like, it's not like I can be like, oh, I sold these pandas, go grab a legend half from my storage, and then put a Hyperia in it. I couldn't do that if I wanted to, and I can't afford to pay gems to rush the halves, so I would have just basically been like, oh, that wasn't very smart, how are you gonna handle that? So right away I got busy, and I deleted some pandas and made some room, and now I had room to grow 3 halves because I'm upgrading 1. But my workers are working on making me 3 legendary halves at the moment. It takes me a day and 9 hours, I think, with the boost from past to be able to make the legend halves. Alright, well, these 3, I'm going to throw them in storage and start 3 more. And then I'm going to keep doing that until the El Colossal finally gets here. That way, when the El Colossal finally gets here, hopefully I have at least 9 of them in my storage. And then I still have 3 growing, so that would be like 12. And then I have space for 50 in my vault. That would be like 62. And then we'll go around and we will delete 150 monsters from our halves. And then we will go ahead and put Hyperias in all of their places. And I'm hoping that we could get to 100 since we started yesterday doing it. And that's the goal. That's what I'm doing there. And yes, I would definitely spend 5k plus gems on Hyperias. They make 364 GPM each. People could ask, what if you can't get Hyperia? What if there's another monsters in there? The only ones I would consider would be the Ava, the little gold pot of gold or whatever. They're 335, and then Wickas. Wickas are 364. So if it is able to be like breed Forsakens, Wicca would be the monster that I'm actually going for. I'm not honestly interested in rank 5ing Forsaken monsters. Like, I would try to breed Neasels to make him rank 3. I would try to breed like Santa to make him rank 2. I would try to breed Corruptus to make him rank 2 to try and get his next move. But yeah, there's none. I mean, I'd probably try to breed Thundir out of all of them to have a Lindworm turn transfer. But again, I don't think any of what I just named off are worth gems. The only one that I think that would be worth gems would be making lots and lots of Wickas. I would spend 5k gems to make a bunch of Wickas because they're the same as Hyperia. And a big difference between Hyperia and Wicca is nature didn't have any 305 GPM monsters. So not having any 305 GPM monsters and being able to jump to a 364 monster makes these gold boosts that nature produces more valuable, because Earth does have 305 monsters, so Earth would eventually have Hyperias, unlike, where you would eventually have Wickas. So I think that Wicca is actually a higher priority than Hyperia to me, meaning I would prefer to have 100 Wickas than I would 100 Hyperias, because 100 Hyperias would be more likely to do in the future, whereas Wickas you can't actually turn your nature cells to Wicca cells, whereas you can turn your Earth cells to Hyperia cells. So that's my line of thought on that. That's what's been going on, guys. So now you know, free-to-play is still smashing the maze, and free-to-play is trying to prepare for that El Colossal that's coming. Everybody always asks, what are you going to do with all those gems? Why do you even have so many gems? Like, what can you do with them? Like, that's one thing, man. I was planning to save them for Hyperias, and the game took that away from me. Like, I don't know, maybe they're smart enough to know what I was up to. Like, I was definitely going to rock out, 100 Hyperias, but like I said, had they just come around this El Colossal, I wouldn't even have been ready, guys. So I'm getting ready now. I think we'll be able to get 9 halves up before they get here. So anyway, you'll just have to stay tuned and see what all I'm doing, and tune in tomorrow. I should have the monster by tomorrow, the maze monster, the 100 cells. I won't be crafting it right away. The next craft is going to be Splitfire, or whatever his name is. And that Hyperia is going to go in with the other Hyperia that I'm upgrading the hab now. I'd click it, but I don't want to get the maze coins yet. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in to watch the channel. See you tomorrow.